Hey, welcome to, this is episode 14, I believe. Doing pretty good. 14 or 15, in fact, yeah. Hello, this is Chester Masterminds. I'm Jim McLaughlin here today again with my good friend, Uncle P from CMP Radio. No, we're not up yet?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
We're up.
Yeah, we are up yet.
Right,
yeah.
we're up.
You're just not up yet.
I'm just not up. Right.
But that's okay. But
I got to engineer the show and be a personality. That's hard, bro.
It's a lot of work.
It's
a lot of work,
hard,
right?
and you do amazing at it.
Not all the time.
You a lot of knobs and buttons and things to push and watch, and you do a great job of it. So engineering today, and joining me as a co-host is Jean-Pierre Bryce, Uncle P to everybody who listening to CMP Radio all over the place. I am missing my sponsor list, but I know you have it.
Yes, I do.
I know you have it. But so if you want to call out, we are sponsored. We are regularly sponsored now. I'm grateful for that. So,
yes, we are.
So why don't you rattle off who we are sponsored by today?
Northern Marketing, Mecca, Nerds Family Kitchen, Inspire, Mind Our Own Businesses, KC Electric, the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, Pennsylvania, Pressure Inc., TFG Tax Pros, Abstract Kings, LeBron Construction, and Latoyson Law.
Latoyson Law, good.
Latoyson Law is owned and operated by Chester native Enrique Latoyson. Latoyson Law is there for you when you need it most. They can handle all of your legal needs. Support Chester's own Latoyson Law. They handle property transfer, criminal defense, and all other legal needs. They're the right firm right now. 610-999-1439. Again, the right firm right now.
Awesome. Great. Well, we appreciate Latoyson Law
Absolutely.
for sponsoring us. And as always, we are talking small businesses, business startups, anything we can do to build a support network here in Chester for anyone who wants to start a business, wants to grow their business, wants to get involved with helping others, be part of the ecosystem of the economy of Chester. And we want you to tell your friends that this is something we want to continue to do. We will continuing to build out our network and everything that we're doing to promote the ideas and the skills of being a great entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And so if you've got folks that you'd like to see on the program, I've got a note out on the Facebook page to tell us who that is, but absolutely get a hold of us, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And before we get into our guest, again, I want to invite everybody, if you've got a comment, we're definitely open to that. So if you've got a thought on our guest or on entrepreneurship in general, just chime in on the Facebook page anytime, whether it's real time or at any other point in time. We would love to hear your thoughts on that. A couple of news items on, as I mentioned, I try to just broaden ourselves a little bit around what the news is around entrepreneurship. This week I Googled black women entrepreneurs. Because that's clearly a topic for this week.
Absolutely.
And I found a couple of really good articles, some recent news items. An organization called The Well is transforming black women entrepreneurs with $50,000 investments from General Motors. Pretty good. There is, and I mentioned this for not the first time I've mentioned it on this show, but there is a lot of interest in supporting minority, black, brown businesses across all of this. So strike while the iron is hot. There's people interested in investing, and they're doing it for the long term. Last week I mentioned how long that they're looking for 5 and 10 year horizons on their investments. So they're buying in, and so take advantage of it. If you've got something that where you can take advantage of some investments, that's a good time to do that.
Absolutely.
And then specifically for our guest today, meet the there's a group of entrepreneurs ushering black women into UX careers.
Love it.
And I know that our guest knows something about user experience.
Oh, I was about to say
UX. I know. This is.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
So it happens to be in Brazil, but that doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. The point is that there are folks who are that understand that there is a certain way of presenting information and communication and engaging in the Black community or any community, frankly, and they want more folks who understand and engage, and they want more Black women doing UX design. User experience design and we're going to talk about this with Shai today, but that's a big deal. So anyway, Google Black women entrepreneurs for news and ideas on what to do if you are a Black woman entrepreneur, and we have one here today.
Yes, we do.
So I am pleased to introduce, and I hope I have spelled your name correctly. I think you use SHAY, not SHAI, or is it?
I
does it
actually
matter?
do either or, but SHAI.
Oh, all right. So I did get it right.
Yeah, you got
It's
it.
interchangeable.
I've seen it both ways in the last day, and I didn't want to do that wrong. So SHAI, Shai Stovell, graphic designer, here with us today. So welcome to our show. It's good to have
thank
you
you.
on. Thank you for coming in. And so we're going to give you a little bit of time. Just tell us a little bit about your background, the skills, the tools that you've learned to use, and how you became an entrepreneur.
I'm going to try to make this quick. So,
No, take your time. Take your time and talk into the microphone.
obviously, my name is Shai Stovell. I'm a native of Chester, Pennsylvania. I am a graphic and interaction designer. I actually graduated last year from Westchester University.
Wow.
Let's start from the beginning. Anybody that knows me from Chester, when you grew up with me, everybody knew me as the artist. So, just surrounded by art, always winning art competitions, making cute things, cool things, Dragon Ball Z, whatnot. And I was always encouraged to follow my creative aspirations, especially through my family. And I actually went to Delaware County Community College after graduating from Westchester. I'm sorry, not Westchester, Chester High. A lot of Chesters.
Right.
But I actually got my associates in fine arts. And by the time I graduated, I'm like, wow, I can be a success by myself. I don't need to get a bachelor's degree in fine arts.
Right.
So that was just my personal opinion. I know it's different for everybody else. But my teachers, they talked with me. They was concerned because I just gained an associate's. They're like, why are you going to switch your major? But the best thing about graphic design is it kind of meshed together with fine arts. So I already had the prerequisite classes when I went to Westchester and everything, so it just worked out perfectly. So that's how I got to Westchester. And as I said, I graduated from Westchester last year during the pandemic, obviously. So that was very interesting, very challenging, actually. But as I was graduating, I was employed at Chester Crozier Medical Center. Been working there for about almost 3 years at the moment, and I mean, honestly, I wasn't happy there. Let's be frank.
Right.
I wasn't happy there, and I just graduated. I'm like, all right, so let me just give this entrepreneurship a shot. I always see a lot of my friends doing it. They inspired me. I always see a lot of people that I follow on Instagram that do the same thing, so I'm like, let me just do this. And a couple months in, actually, I partnered with my friend Marcus Gray from Synkware Technologies.
Yep.
He's a web designer and mobile designer, and we took off with our first project for the app Date Simple, and things just took off from there. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, that's awesome. I'm impressed that you had friends who actually encouraged you to do this. What was that experience like? Because what were they telling you? Like, okay, were they telling you that you really had a differentiated skill, or you could do this? How did you make that decision to take the leap? Yeah.
I always had supportive friends. I know how to pick them, basically.
Okay.
And even without them having to verbally say it to me, I knew they always believed in me. And also, I'm a very, very visual person, obviously, but being an artist and designer and whatnot. And I just saw what they were doing. It just inspired me. Jamar Saunders, he got lost in the hot sauce business in Chester. And obviously Marcus Gray, but just seeing them, I'm like, I want to be just like them. They inspire me, so why not?
Good. So tell us how the graphic design business works. I mean, is it all on spec, or are you pre-designing? Walk us through a typical job that you have to go do.
I mean, that's pretty subjective, depending on the designer. I like to start from the very scratch. I'm a graphic designer, which means I can do a lot of things. I can make illustrations, I can make brandings. I'm good at logo design and product design and all that other stuff. But sorry, I lost track a little bit.
Well, just walk us through this how much time do you spend getting to know your client?
Oh, that's extremely important. Yeah.
And what kind of things do you do to get to know them?
Right. I'm going to give an example back to Date Simple with Synkware Technology. So I had my first professional client at the moment. And basically, the relationship that you build with your client, that's extremely important. I know there's a lot of emphasis put on that nowadays, how people don't have the proper business etiquette to work with clients and stuff like that. But I'm very well off because just my personality in general, like I'm very friendly. I enjoy just being with people and whatnot. So with my very first client, obviously during COVID, we had to make use of Zoom or Google Meets actually. And even past like all the specs of the given assignment, I just like to sit down, get to know the client, laugh with them. And obviously in order to get into the nitty gritty of the projects, I actually got to get into the client's head. Like you actually got to give me a slew of like information. I don't want just like bare bones basically. So, because that basically dictates how successful the outcome is going to be.
Right.
And people are paying a whole lot of money for this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. So
it's not cheap. No.
I have to give my best effort. So I really care about the clients, and it's just a whole process. The whole process begins with talking with the client, making sketches and professional sketches and thumbnails and stuff like that. It depends on each project. Like this project with Date Simple, that took approximately 3 months for me to complete. Some would be much shorter, say 2 weeks if not, but every single client, no matter how much you're paying, no matter the span of the project, you're going to get the same exact profession. So
good, yeah. Oh, that's great. So, and you know, how do you see yourself differentiating from other graphic design firms or something? Is there a certain thing that you try to do that you feel is different than others?
That's a good question. I mean, more so in graphic design, there are people that stand out. It's pretty hard to stand out, actually, because you know how many of us are there. So,
well, that's why I'm asking the question, because
right.
it's a healthy market. Yeah.
I would say more so just myself, like the way that I provide my services to said client, the relationships I build with the clients, because things that I do, another designer can do. And you can create your own style, but that takes time to actually work out. I'm actually working on that myself just to make myself stand out a bit more. But I'm not going to rush that process. And until that happens, it's basically just me and my personality, how I work with you, the deliverables I would give to you, and my professionalism. So.
Right. Well, and the fact that you've already indicated one other thing that I think probably differentiates a lot is the relationship that you build,
right.
You know, and the depth that you take to make sure that you're appreciating the goals and the aspirations that your client has for the media that you're going to be generating for them. What is it trying to do? And where are they going to place it, and who the audience is, and what's the feeling that you're trying to engender, from this particular project that that you're trying to do.
That's a lot of things clients don't think about. It's so easy. They be like, I just want this. Like, it's easy to make something pretty, something attractive, but we got to be more meaningful with the things we create. And like I said before, that dictates your success. You gotta know, like you just said, you gotta know your demographic. Yep. You gotta know what these applications are gonna actually be applied to. It's gonna be on a billboard, it's gonna be on an app, website, a product or something like that. So that's very important.
Well, so P, we've got a video I think that shows a little bit of sample of what Shai does. I thought we'd just run that real quick and let people see exactly what we're talking about. Okay, great. I was amazed at all of the different styles. Just the way that each one of them are very unique. I mean, it's not like you're just generating cookie cutter style designs. Like they all look the same, or the colors are all the I could tell that there was a lot of thought that went into every one of them, to decide, okay, you've got fonts, you've got words and text, and you've got images and all these things, and the juxtaposition of all that stuff is very different from, in each one of those different products and projects that you've worked on. So, I think that's key for everyone, is you want to make your product as unique to your client as you can make it, so that they feel like they're getting something that's really about them and their business, not about, not your vision, right? It's theirs, and you, and at least the way it's presented, I enjoyed seeing the variations and the span of all of that. So when you first began, thinking about doing this, did you write down a business plan at all? Did you come up with any kind of a document, or think about, what your customer was, or how we're gonna differentiate?
I started briefly. Like I said, I started last year, so I would say about
in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm gonna ask about that. Yeah.
Right. I obviously had to make a plan. Like, I'm a planner. Like, I gotta lay things out. So I use my own devices. I research people that's doing similar things on YouTube. Another thing is I do work based off of a contract, so I actually had to do my research on the type of things that need to be within the contract. I'm going to have the client sign the contract in the middle of a pandemic. I use e-signature through Adobe Signs. But, obviously, like I said, I use my own devices. I had to study other designers, other successful designers, ones that I follow and whatnot. But the primary thing was a contract. Please have your contract. If you're a creative, get a contract. I have so many friends that were burned because they did not have one. And be very detailed. Don't just say, I'm going to give you this at this time, and that's it. You sign this and blah, blah, blah. No, you got to give, specs on your payment. You also got to give specs on the things that the client like, because a part of a contract is obviously to protect the creatives, but it's also to protect the clients as well in their satisfaction. Because even within my own contract, I have a part that says, for any reason whatsoever, if you're dissatisfied so far with myself or how the process is going, you can opt out. It's perfectly fine. Obviously, they would have to pay for the work that I did so far, but it's just to make everybody feel comfortable at the end of the day.
An off-ramp is a classic technique.
Exactly.
At any point in time, if we're just not working, see you. Yeah.
No harm, no money.
No harm, no foul. Listen, not every one of these things works. It's very important that you be happy, and I want you to be happy.
Exactly.
So if it's not working for you, just cut it off, and we'll either start over with a different plan, or we'll help you find a different designer.
Right.
Really, I mean, you can do that too, and say, listen, we want to find the right, because I want your business to be successful, and we'll see how yes, little boy behind the glass.
I got a question.
Sure.
How do you say your design philosophy is different between, like, let's say a pickle company and a clothing brand, right? Because the clothing brand logo has to be able to go on clothes, and has to be. So would you give the clothing brand, like, would they be able to pay for more logos? Like, would you give them a logo of just words, or would you give them a logo with their, explain that, how you would do that differently?
Like I said, that's entirely subjective on the client and whatnot, going back to the analogy of T-shirts and a pickle jar, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, it depends on what type of T-shirts you want to sell. It's going to be typographic or it's going to be illustrative. I'm actually working on one, by the way. I'm not going to give too much details. Right. But on the basis of the T-shirt, obviously the T-shirt and the company needs its own logo. But in my opinion, it's very repetitive to keep plastering logos on things. Right. Like, that's not a decent practice in graphic design, especially if you try to make a brand. Like, you got to have certain aesthetics and certain elements, basically, to make up said brand. It's not just the logo. So that's what I got to explain to a lot of clients, because they just don't know. That's why you hired me. But back in terms of T-shirts, like I said, that's entirely subjective. Like, if they do want a logo repetitive, I'll do that for them. If they want an illustration, I'll do that for them as well. Back to the analogy of the pickle jar, that's entirely different, because how many pickle jars are you going to mass produce? That dictates how many labels you're going to have on it. The size of the label, the color treatment of the label, because printing things out are expensive. Right. So that's another thing. I also got to negotiate with the client in terms of their finances. Like, how much money are you willing to spend after me giving you what I got, basically? Because I want you to have longevity. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but my target demographic for myself is usually small businesses at the moment, because I'm not at that level yet. I will be, but small businesses, especially locally. Like I said, I helped out Jamar Saunders with Lost in the Sauce, but that comes with the job, basically. You got to be knowledgeable. I can't just make pretty things.
That's a very clean
I got to be a
logo.
consultant. So, yeah.
That's definitely a clean logo.
That was a good question.
Well, it gets the point across very quickly, and you've integrated, the pepper, into the graphic. You know exactly what it is this thing is trying to be.
Right.
Because I have a clothing line, so I'm looking for someone, right? So we're going to talk after this.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be great.
Well, I hope everybody will, because it is imagery, especially in this world of social media, and where you literally get about 8 seconds to get somebody's attention.
You know it.
You've got to have a graphic that tells a story very quickly and then embeds a good, not only a feel but information that together. And it's all got to work. But it's got to work quickly, and it's got to be efficient.
You know your stuff.
Well, I've been doing this a little while. So, but no, it's great. But you went to, and I don't pretend, and I don't have a degree in graphic design.
No.
So you've gone to school for this, and I want to point that out, that you're bringing so much more to it than just a pedestrian understanding like I have. You've got detailed. You've got certain tools. I wanted to ask, are you involved in the production side of things as well? Do you coordinate with the printers? Do you coordinate? Do they buy? Do your clients buy like I saw one was stationery. I think you did a stationery line for one client. Do you actually go procure all of that with the printer and deliver that whole package to them, or you just simply spec it and then they hand it off to a printer? Or how does that? I can probably work both ways, but which do you prefer? Yeah.
I prefer to be hands-on, honestly.
Okay, to carry it all the way through to delivery, right?
Yes, because the ones that you saw, honestly, they are mock-ups, obviously. It's good that people can't tell because that's how seamless they are. But I'd rather work hands-on. I want to do it myself, because it's one thing to hop into Adobe Illustrator and just like make this cool-looking stationery like the letterhead and stuff like that. But it's even better when you see it on a piece of paper for yourself. That way you can test it out and be like, oh, that doesn't look good, or maybe I should adjust this. That way you put your best foot forward and show the client also. And then after that, if they want to continue making further prints, obviously they can work through a third party or whatnot to get that done. But it would be all formatted perfectly, and you'll have all the files that you need to do that.
Right.
Yep.
Have you had any sort of roadblocks come up in the process of developing your business? Any challenges you've had to overcome?
I would say myself, to be completely honest, because I wouldn't have had this interview if it wasn't for Julie with Circle in Chester. So much thanks to her, obviously. But I'm the kind of person that's in between being an introvert and an extrovert. And another thing is, I'm an overthinker. I think a whole lot. I have to. So at a certain point, you're going to become stagnant if you overthink things. And then you're not going to be able to deliver the things that you want to produce. And there's just a lot of self-loathing that comes with that eventually. So I grew out of that. Obviously, I'm here.
Yes, you are.
And networking and whatnot. But obviously, just my thinking process, knowing that what I do is enough, not trying to push things further than it needs to be, because it's already good. Like,
well, I think you raise an excellent point, because I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, are hesitant as to whether you think you can make it all, whether you have all of the ducks in a row.
Right.
And and P, I'm sure you ran into the similar feelings, before starting up the station or even expanding it. Is, do I have everything that I need? Do I really know everything I need to know?
Right.
And and the answer is no.
No, you don't. And that's the
you
best
will,
answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
You won't, and you don't, and
No.
you can't. But do the best that you can and learn.
Exactly.
You can acquire those talents, right?
And that brings me to the next point, which is your network of other business mentors or folks that guided you. Who told you to go get a contract?
Did somebody tell me? I'm trying to think. I honestly think I just thought about it myself. Like I said, I follow influencers or other graphic designers online.
Okay.
And I want to be like them one day. They actually give out advice instead of withholding that advice for young entrepreneurs.
Right. So you used a group, a networking group, to mentor yourself, essentially, by listening.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like I said, mainly on Instagram. Then I took to my own devices and actually did the research on what I actually want to put into the contract and whatnot. So it's basically like I gotta be a self-starter to actually get that stuff on the ball. So
Right.
Yeah.
And and then were there other folks that guided you on how to accept payment, or even just, hey, you need to work with this printer and not that printer, or this production house and not that production house? Did you have help to figure those things out?
I did. Mainly my peers, primarily from Westchester University, my other graphic design friends. So, like my friend Chuck, also my friend Michael. We're very tight-knit group of people, especially with being with each other for over 4 years, like become a secondary family. And I obviously got advice for them and different things. Like I got a Canon printer right now. I think that was recommended by my friend Chuck. So things like that.
Right. So I mean, so we call this show Chester Masterminds for a reason.
Yes.
You have that mastermind group. And I want to point that out to folks, is this is how we do this.
You got to have the right circle.
We cannot know everything, but together with others, we can begin to know an awful lot.
Exactly.
And we can share and help each other to succeed, and that's terrific.
Oh, no.
Right? I mean,
Well, I definitely agree with you. I understand it takes many people to get one thing done.
It does.
Right?
It
takes
does.
someone to cut down the tree, someone to line the paper, somebody to do all of these jobs just to have a piece of paper to write on.
Exactly.
Right? So,
Right.
we have to see that in small business. Just because you're linking with someone else doesn't take away from what your business
That's
does.
right. Yep.
Right, and it doesn't take away from your talent. You're talented in that area,
Right.
so stay there. You don't have to be in every area, to
He's
get things
preaching.
done, man. But it's absolutely sad because the radio station is so many jobs, right? It's not just engineering, it's not just talking, it's advertising, it's marketing, it's paperwork. I didn't know anything about contracts, right? Until my sister said, all right, we got to have contracts with everything. Now I'm like, all right, y'all handle that, right? But then people call me, yo, what's up with the contract? What's up? It's like, all right, well, I got to know what's going on
Right.
with that. I got to go over there into that room. But we can't possibly have anything if we're not willing to work with people that
Exactly, that's right.
that have skills.
That's
right.
right.
So, we lose all the time. And I say that's why in this community, there are so many people that can do things, and there are so many people that are overlooked as people that can't do things. So we have to, if you have a business, if you have an idea, if you have something, man, hit Jim up so you can come up here and talk about it, and hit us up so we can build with you, man, because I'm always looking for people to help. Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the reasons that I have enjoyed getting into this show, is being able to foster the one thing that I have known through my own career, is that network of people that you work with. The fact that you're gonna have to trust people that you work with, you're gonna have to work together, has been the best thing I've ever learned in anything having. I mean, there's all kinds of technical skills and all kinds of things you can go do, but you can never know everything. And the better of better network that you have, the more likely you are to be successful. And if you are willing to, they call it go-giving, where you're a go-getter, but you're also giving as you go.
I see.
Which means that you're sharing your ideas with others, because they're not actually going to compete with you. There's more than enough business around. If you're doing good quality work, there's always enough business around. You just need to work with each other and support each other. So it's a trust thing that's essential, but it's also professionalism as well, which is we have a responsibility to help others who've helped us, and it's a rising circle of activity that builds and builds and builds, and it really is a long-term lasting success.
So those are excellent points, because I always had the mindset that, because I always knew I'd be my own success in my own right. I always had the mindset like, if I'm going to help anybody, I want to do it with people in Chester.
Well, that's wonderful.
Honest.
Yeah,
we can build up together and help people with their businesses and whatnot, and build off of each other's strengths. Because back to Sync Web with Marcus Gray, I don't know how to do web developing.
Right.
I know how to do some coding. I can do UI UX design. That's basically how things are visualized and laid out. I don't know how to do what he does. Right. And that's why we work perfectly together with that app that we just produced. So.
Yeah, marvelous. So let me. This is a pointed question because we're going to talk specifically about what I raised before. Is, have you learned anything as a black woman doing this, in getting into entrepreneurship? Is there anything unique about that? What has made it interesting? I'll say, as you run into any challenges because of that.
No.
Well, that's good. Well,
so far, no. And honestly, just being a black woman graphic designer and whatnot, it's a rarity, kind of, amongst the demographic, because it's mainly white men, white women. Even in my graduating class, there was only 3 of us that were black. It wasn't actually supposed to be my class. I was supposed to graduate the class previously. So if it wasn't for that, it only would have been 2. So we're already a rarity in the field. And that in itself, I think that makes me interesting because how many of us do you see?
Yeah,
I mean, I follow
agree.
some good amount on Instagram, but even so, like the minorities, they're mainly men, not all females, especially on the level that I like to work on, basically. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
I mean, if any obstacles do come along due to my race and gender, whatnot, I'll just roll with the punches. Like, I'm a worker, so.
And opening up in the pandemic, how did that go? I mean, was there any? You said you had to learn how to do things digitally, digital signatures on things. Yeah. Any other challenges? Because sometimes it can make a difference. I don't know.
It's funny because we were just joking how I'm a millennial and I'm bad with social media. But other than that, get more in touch with Zoom and Google Meets. But other than that, the pandemic, honestly, for me, I'm grateful to say it didn't impact me negatively at all. If anything, it made things slightly easier. Like I can stay in my room, make sure I have a nice top on, can be in my pajama pants, and just talk to people face to face during Zoom and whatnot. And also, even with Zoom, I can share the things that I'm working with as well. So if anything, it was kind of a blessing. Like I was just chilling.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. So I want to take just a second here. I want to talk a little bit about the station, but I want to come back and we're going to talk about your vision and where you're going forward, and then we'll wrap it up. But
awesome.
but I do want to talk real quick to all the folks that are out there, because this is a radio station that is making a difference in Chester. CMP Radio is the voice of Chester. For almost 4 years now, it has been growing and growing a base of support, connecting and engaging the community around economic development, about social needs, social interests, and just a wide range of topics that are increasingly needed in every community that wants to build cohesiveness in what they're trying to do together, accomplishing together. And I really want to ask folks, if you have a topic of interest that you feel like the community needs to engage on, reach out. Let's talk about it on CMP Radio. We want to get you connected in with the community as well. It's a powerful thing when we can bring together the community around a set of topics. And I want advertisers as well, because one of the things that can happen here as we grow the economy of Chester back to its glory days of the 70s and beyond, the way to do that is to work together as an ecosystem of businesses all sharing their skills. If you're a local Chester business, I guarantee you need graphic design or of some kind. People need to be able to see your products and understand what's going on. If you need, photography, if you need, electrical work in your business, you can get that here in Chester. All of it is available, and we want you to take advantage of all that. And this is why we highlight businesses right here in Chester, because that's how Chester is going to grow and prosper. What Chester makes Chester. Everybody knows that phrase. Well, what Chester makes is graphic design. What Chester makes is electrical wiring and other services. What Chester makes is photography or event promotion. It makes a lot of stuff. It doesn't make ships anymore, but it makes a lot of stuff. And what Chester makes Chester, and it will continue to do so going forward. And CMP Radio will be a part of that going forward. And tell us just a little bit about the event, the race-a-thon coming up in August.
So August 20th through the 22nd, cmpradio.net will be having its second annual, because we didn't do it last year, but our second raise-a-thon. The raise-a-thon is a thing that we do to raise money for the station, to keep the station open, to give some free shows to some people, some money in the kitty, so we can do some things, so we can grab some new equipment, maybe a new camera, right, outside or inside camera. So Friday, August 20th, we're tagging. Yes, we're tagging on 9th and Engle Street. We'll be out there from about 12 to about 5. Big Business car wash is allowing us to use their little cutoff section for our show. So we're going to put our tent up, going to put our show equipment outside, and we're going to be out there for 5 hours. Then on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we'll be here in the station. That's 2 hours, though. It's only 2 hours. And then we're going to the park for 6 hours. We're going to be at Chester Park. It'll be vendors. It'll be food. We'll have live performances. We're going to have people, comedians, poets, rappers, singers, right? Different people from the area coming through, and then Sunday
all the
is
stuff that Chester makes. Yeah.
right, all the stuff that Chester makes. Right, we're gonna have it all out there, and then Sunday is our CMP Appreciation Day. It's our brunch where we appreciate all our shows, all our sponsors for another year of believing in us, man, and helping us to get to the method, because I see our shows as sponsors, right? They're sponsoring cmpradio.net, right? They pay for their shows, so they go on air. But I want to show them that I appreciate them. It's not much, but it's something.
It's great. Right. No, it's great. It's good. And I look forward to being hanging out and seeing all the people turn out, because we want you all to come out to that kind of an event. And we want and I absolutely invite every guest that I have had on this show to please, because you are so much of the target of what CMP is going after. Please come out. Absolutely. Come out and participate. Help us raise money. Also help others raise awareness for your business and for all that we're trying to do to raise the economy and strength of Chester going forward. So that's the story for I do this every week, as you may know. I want to make sure that people appreciate what CMP Radio
Absolutely.
is and the asset that it is for the Chester community. So, but going back to Shai Stovell, graphic and interaction designer.
More so interactive,
interactive designer. Yeah. So where are you going now? So what's your vision for where this can all go? Are you branching out in the kinds of projects you're doing, the tools that you use? You mentioned Illustrator, or are there other tools that are you going to get into video? I mean,
obviously, like everything Adobe, the whole Adobe suite, I actually have that: Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, After Effects, XD, all that, Premiere, whatnot. Those are all the tools I'm going to use. But a part of being a graphic designer is you got to go with the times. A lot of things are trends, so that's also things like Figma, Infinity, I believe that's similar to Illustrator. I'm going to be more on top of all the other apps that's coming out that are free, that companies are choosing to go with instead of Adobe products, because they save money, basically. So I got to stay on top of that. But more so, I love working for myself. There's a great freedom with that. But even so, in the future, I do want to work for a major agency, particularly possibly in UX and UI design, or doing brand-related concepts. So
that's awesome.
Gotta plan it out.
Are you looking to go back to school at all? I mean,
somebody asked me that before. Oh gosh, because I love school. Don't get me wrong, but I got so burnt out at the end. I was burnt out when years before I graduated, to be completely honest. But never say never. Like, who knows? Maybe I do want to get my master's degree later down the road. My cousin got it, so why not me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
More money opportunity, too. Money is security. So.
Absolutely.
and as your business grows and your work grows, getting a business degree, or even just a certificate or something like that,
yes.
around the business functions of
I would love to do that.
HR and business communications. Not that you don't understand communications, but there's certain other things that one has to do as you move up the ladder in running a larger and larger operation.
Right.
The more and more work goes on, you might bring in some staff. You might so there's some skills that you might at some point pick up. But for now, you're just rocking it. You're
basically, I'm having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm thrilled. It's always great. We want to make sure that everybody knows that graphic design is an essential part of virtually everything that's out there, and that you're kicking it in Chester right here. I mean, and that's great. So, I mean, anything else that you wanted to point out? Any other things that you want people to know about what you're doing?
Nothing that I haven't already said before, but if you want to contact me or see any more detailed work, go to shaistovell.com. My website is up now. It's actually down. My Instagram is also linked to that as well.
SHAI Stovall, STOVALL.com.
Yes.
And you are on Instagram as well.
I am.
Yeah, and so you're covering all of it. We did talk briefly before the show, and I want to remind everybody, and that's not just because, but get on Google Maps, because it's amazing how many people search for a business because they're looking for local businesses. So if I wanted to hire a local graphic designer, I'm going to go to Google Maps because it's already geographically centered, and type in graphic designer, and I want to find Shai Stovell there. Because I want I want to see a button, a pin pop up that says I got a graphic designer right there. They're within a mile of me, and we can get together and we can figure out what's going on. But it's it's a real help. So I tell all businesses, I want to make sure they all understand. Get into the Google Maps thing so people can find you if they're looking for a Chester business. Do that. And I shout out to Lakeisha Lawrence, who does Mind Our Own Businesses. As well. She's putting together a directory of this. I encourage you to go get on her directory. She's building that up as an adjunct to the station here. So every opportunity, all of those things are good to get your name out there.
And just take it.
But thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate the chance to talk. And you've got some friends out there who are cheering you on. So that's great. And and word of mouth is always key, especially in the creative arts.
Exactly.
So when people know what you've done for them and appreciate what you do, they need to let other people know. So I wish you all the best. And you've made it through one of the toughest economies ever around. So it's all uphill for you.
Absolutely.
It's all good news and blue sky. So
feel good about it.
That's great. And P, any other thoughts here?
No, I'm just waiting to talk to her about this clothing line situation. That's
I got my business cards too.
Right. And you can leave them right there out on the front, right?
We keep them here from everybody. I want to build that network.
There are several different people in the city that design logos and put logos out there, right?
Yep.
And I feel like I've spent money with everybody except for you. So I definitely got to
spend money with me.
I definitely got to spend a couple of hours with you, and that's just how I am, right? If I have not every logo that has been made for the station has been made either by DePriest Northern, logos by Mark, or even Ted Miller, right? Those are the three people that I know that and now I'll have you for the clothing brand. So I'm all about spreading the wealth. I don't stay on one particular person to do anything for me, right? I want to see how people work. Right, because everybody needs an opportunity, and I believe that. So
that's very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I spent $25 on Fiverr to get my logo for this thing. That was probably the worst $25 I've ever spent.
Did you like it?
No, I mean, but it served my purpose for the quick. I mean, it took us 4 weeks to put this show together. I get you pay what you pay for.
Now you got to talk to her about.
I got to talk to Shai. I got to talk. Yeah. So appreciate. We'll make it work.
Yeah, and huge thanks once again to Julie from Circle, Chester Residents Concerned for Quality of Living. Right. I suggest every Chester resident to actually follow the Facebook page, their Instagram page as well, and stay in the know in terms of their environmental issues that's going on in Chester, because their health depends on it. So
absolutely,
yes.
Julie's been working for over 30 years.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Protecting the environment here in Chester, and I support her as well. So I completely agree. But thank you all for listening. Check out some of the past shows. I'm trying to do better. So during August, I'm going to do better at getting all of our shows put up back onto Facebook, and so that everybody knows what's going on. But go back, check out some of the great conversations that we've had, and we've got a couple more shows here in July, and looking forward to it. So next week is.
We got three.
Three more.
That's a couple.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's a few.
How about that few? Yeah.
Right, that's a few. A couple is two.
Couple, yes, you're correct. Yes. My wife would argue with you, but
right.
That's okay. So next week we have a child care center.
Okay.
There's a bunch of child care centers
absolutely
in Chester, and this is just one of them that happens to be housed within the Chester Housing Authority network of businesses that they support within their facilities, and look forward to having them on, and watch for the rest of them. We've got more coming.
Right.
So
nice.
and again, if anybody's got any suggestions,
please
fire them at us. Let us know.
Let us up, man. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. No.
Jim don't bite.
Not yet.
Not yet. Man, I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night, and we will see you next week.
Yep.